you get that scripture?
Or did you? Talking about when Babylon is destroyed?
Yeah, and then I wanted you to get the other scripture.
That's the word. Babylon is indicative of the word.
For specific.
Well, no, it's not. Because look, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 18. And cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, "What city is like unto this great city?"
Right. So what city is like unto New York, man? The Big Apple, man.
Hey, no,
That's what they call it, right?
No, but that's what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about. Babylon was
saying raise it onto the foundation thereof.
Yes, that's right. It's just saying what needs to happen and what will happen. So anyway, it's been nice talking to you, but I'm going to listen to you. Like you're talking to me.
Yeah.
I talk to other people.
So I want to get you one more scripture because you were talking about.
Yeah. You're talking about the word.
Lord, this thing being dormant or whatnot, man.
You're talking about the word itself, but this, what I'm talking about, transcends the word. I don't mean this to obliterate it and it goes to smoke and just goes into nothing. I'm saying that it is recognized in the word and understood so that you're able to really deal with a person at any moment, at any time. Because the words are given to you. The words, I don't even have to look for words. Because the words are given to me.
Well, we got to speak as oracles of God, brother.
Huh?
So I'm going to read this out for you, elders. Just give me one moment. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, reading from verse... I'm going to read from verse 22. But if they had stood in my counsel and had caused my people to hear my words, then they shall have turned them from their evil way and from the evil of their doings. Am I a God at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off? Can any hide himself in secret places that I shall not see him, saith the Lord? Do not I fill heaven and earth, saith the Lord. So the Lord, man, is not some dormant thing, man. This is gonna keep going.
Yeah.
This is not he's not some God just that's afar off, man. No, he is very nigh unto you.
Well, that's
So
what,
how
that's
do
what
black
I'm
people,
saying.
more importantly, how are black people going to get out of the
it's-
deposition that we're in today, Elder? That's what I want. How are black people going to get out of the deposition that they are placed in today? How do we get out of it?
The way that my grandmother and my really ready to seek and not only seek, let the light guide us to the and that what we see outside is powerful and all controlling. No. I mean,
What's that light, brother? What is the light?
They said, I allow you to finish.
Please,
I
no,
stop.
brother.
I stop and
Like the memories of,
and that's
and
the
like
other thing.
the ones
20
like
years from now, I would be so mad if I said yes.
Now, basically, what they said was, be careful about letting your pride jump up at every different example of what's wrong. Because often, when that emotional aspect comes up, we don't seek quiet to figure out just what's happening. What did Christ do? He went into the desert. He went into the garden of Gethsemane. Don't, because he knew that he needed that time to hear what his father was saying. Okay? So when the disciples said, our people already it was in the culture. It was basically, so the surviving people, like my mother, who survived and thrived, not by they remain strong. But, and so they use the word. Not just the word, but what it means.
I probably don't want to live in this city.
Christ wasn't a white boy, man. And it's just to separate from your oppressor. You know you ain't supposed
I'm
to
gonna
be
pray
a white
for
boy.
you.
Okay, I gotta go. Because even the sentiments that you
Was Christ like that? Was Christ like that? But was Christ like that? I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a very honest question. Was Christ like that? Can you answer my question? Because I heard you talk, Elder, but now you're about to go off. Was Christ a racial superiority? Yes or no? Christ said, I died for Israel and Israel only. Is that racial superiority right there, what he said? Christ said, I died for Israel and Israel only. Is that racial superiority? But he said for Israel. He didn't say for the... He didn't.
What it means. See, everything is on context.
It is. That's why I'm
Because
asking. Well, we believe, yeah, we had sellouts in our nation. We know that they were sellouts.
Yeah. So what?
But Christ still died for them. That's what we're telling you. No matter if an Israelite is wicked as hell, no matter what, they're still promised, according to election, that they will be saved, because all Israel will be saved. They got to die a death. That's what the Bible says. They got to die that second death. They're going to be reborn into the kingdom, because all Israel will be saved, because God is not a covenant breaker. God is not a liar. So if he said, I'm going to save, when he told Abraham, I'm going to save your posterity and inherit your heritage,
Right.
God promised that to Abraham, and that's what's going to happen. Not the whole world are heirs of Abraham.
Oh, so it takes
And America's going to be destroyed.
Yeah, America's going to be destroyed. Sir.
Huh?
I said America's going to be destroyed.
That's right.
America's going to destroy it.
Well, it says the horn shall hate the whore, and they're going to destroy
They're
it.
going to destroy it with nuclear fire.
With nuclear fire, sir. That's in the Bible.
And who are all those people?
Russia, China, and you have the 10 European common markets that are going to turn on America and destroy them. You see this war with tariffs going on, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You see the European
I'm sorry,
market.
John. I'm sorry.
You see the European market, and now they're up in their tariffs.
I really gotta go because part of society is that we all have to examine everything, even the things that we believe. And then if you think there's a shortcut to the truth telling us what it is, there is
Because Christ said straight is the way. Christ said straight is the way, right? Not broad. He said straight is the way. That's right.
and also given free will to exercise that.
So you have the will to go against God's ordination. You have the will to go against God's
You
ordination.
have the will to choose, and if it becomes fatal,
Did Christ have free will?
You
Did Christ have free will?
So what?
Are you greater than Christ?
This is
Come on,
really
Elder.
weird.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No,
I said I'm asking you just basic questions. Are you greater than Christ? Are you greater than the Master? Are you greater than Christ? Yes or no? Can you just say yes or no? Christ said, "Let your nay be nay and your yea be yea." Are you greater than Christ? Because, sir, you're saying we have free will and Christ didn't have free will.
What just a moment?
Christ didn't have free will. No, he didn't. Because it says that the Lamb was slain before the foundation of the world.
What's the similarity?
Why does
Before
he
the
want to say we
foundations
don't?
of the world,
Because
sir.
we
That
don't.
means that God knew that He would send His only begotten Son to
Yeah.
die for the nation before the world
Because he's
even
saying
began.
that, I think he's trying to say that
Right, because
So He had no free will.
you can choose something.
Christ said, like, your
as if
will
man
be done, not
actually has
my
power
will.
to choose
Exactly.
not to sin.
Okay,
If
so
the Lord,
God's
if
will.
the Lord wants to tempt you
Okay,
to sin,
but
he will go that route.
could He have
Wants
went
to
against
take that
God's will?
route.
Could He have went
Wants
against
to take
God's
out
ordination?
righteousness.
Yes or
It's a free will.
no? No one can go against God's ordination.
Yep.
Jesus is blanco.
Your children, if that's,
That's
part.
right.
Okay.
You're gonna have children, even their fate is already decided. Not even one.
Well, we just want to reach the blessed, brother. We just want you to be blessed, brother. Just continue to
I will answer that. Give me a moment. Cause
No, I'll rise before the hoary head. That's why I let you
Yeah, yeah.
The scriptures tells us to rise before the hoary head.
What it is.
The scriptures say rise before the hoary head, brother. I give you all bases and I bless you, brother.
Yeah.
Period. I bless the people of my nation.
Yeah,
that
all
have great
I
heads.
know is that to lead people to something is not through fear.
Well, Paul said, through fear we persuade men. Did Paul not say that? Paul said that. He said, through fear we persuade men with
I
the
got a
terror
scripture.
of the Lord.
Jack,
This is King James. Paul said that.
Oh,
Any translation you read is going to say that Paul persuaded men through the fear of the
exactly.
Lord.
You know what I said?
Okay, right. Just like
That
happy
earlier days,
You don't need to have to
word of Christ and that whole symbol of the Christ. Okay?
I think you have a little
All right,
bit
sir.
too much
I just
wisdom
want
of
you to be
this
blessed,
world.
sir. I just
You
want
got to
you to be
come
blessed.
back to the book.
Let
and
us
to the
answer
book.
these guys' questions real quick.
You guys are all on something that you need to understand. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
we understand
definitely
this
gotta
Bible. Yeah, we got to understand.
Let's get a scripture. This is the book of Jeremiah,
Let 'em see.
chapter 1, reading from verse 4. Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nation.
So before Jeremiah was born, he knew that God told him that he would be a prophet.
Yes.
So Jeremiah didn't get up and choose one day, saw his people going into captivity and wanted to be a prophet. He said he knew him before he was formed in the womb. So God knows the ordination for your life, sir. You have no free will. From our vantage point, it looks like we have free will, but
Yeah.
God ordains all things.
Exactly.
That's the point. We want you to be blessed, brother. But let us answer these guys' questions real quick. Let us answer their questions.
God's outside of time. God's outside of time.
That's right.
And in
Right.
No, well, we agree.
Omnipresent.
Yahweh is
He is.
omniscient.
He's outside of time. And so he has, just as we are outside of like two dimensions, like we have a three-dimensional space that we can work with. And so we can walk all over two dimensions like it's no problem. Like, there's no limit to how far in two dimensions we can walk because we're three-dimensional beings, you know, and we can access a lower dimension. Same thing with God's work. Because he's not in time, because he's not bound by time. He can see the trajectory of the entire universe. And so we go into each moment just as we go into each space on a 2D plane. Like I can move wherever I want, you know, bound by my own ability to walk up a mountain or anything like that.
Physicality of
Right. But in principle, if I am a 3D being, I can move through any 3D space I want. It's just in the same way, if God is outside of time, he can easily move through time and he's already not waiting.
Can I explain this to you so you understand better?
I don't want to know.
And we're going back to the space that he is.
Right, and this is what I'm getting at, though. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, brother. Be blessed, brother.
But I've always struggled with this. In that if a God exists, I would always think that because he's outside of time, he has a full view of the history of the universe. Like, there's a way that everyone's going to know. He knows how we're going to live. He knows whether or not we're going to heaven or hell.
Right.
But I don't know if I fully accept the idea that he wants to have knowledge of that. I think if the God exists, it's much more of it's a standoffish sort of. Like in the same way, I don't choose to walk around all of the earth. Believe a God would be better serving the people if he knew the predestination of these people, but step back and let them live lives and make their own decisions.
Well, this thing is more like playbook though, like a movie, a script. It's more like a script. These things were, when the prophets came out here, they prophesied, telling the people what shall come in the end, you know? So these things are happening, you know? We perceive things in certain ways, but it ultimately, it is the will of the Father that will go forth. Go ahead, I got a scripture after that, or a parable after that.
Fine, this is the second epistle of Peter, chapter 2 and verse 12. But these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak of evil things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. So Peter here is saying that there are literally people made to be taken and destroyed. Literally, and when you go into that word made in the Hebrew, it literally says geneo, literally generated into this matrix to be destroyed. So they had no will to go against, because a lot of people like to collide with the fact that the deity of the Bible is synergetic. He's not synergetic. He doesn't need you to do anything, because the end was already written from the beginning. That's why it calls Christ the Lamb slain before the foundation of the world. Before people could do any right or wrong, God knew that he would send his only begotten son to die for the people, because he knew that they would go off. So
On that one, though, I mean, do you think there's a difference between being made to do something and being forced to do something, where being made would be, you know, I come into this world having certain skills that are best fit for a job that, you know, if God gives me these abilities, then I'm best made for this. Like, you guys are best made for public speaking. I don't know, maybe, like, that's your guys' orientation in life, and you're made for that. But do you see a difference between that and having absolutely no free will at all, so that you, even in each moment, you are, it's not only that you're made to do something, but you're forced to do anything. Like, I'm forced, I was forced to just say what I just said because there's no consequence for it. I see that reason as being more like you're made for roles rather than you're forced to live by a lack of free will.
No, I perceive that I have free will. You know, by my perception, I have free will, but by my understanding, I know I don't.
this is exactly on the point that you just said, right? So this is the prophet Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 17. O Yahweh, why hast thou made us to err from thy ways, and hardened our heart from thy fear? Return for thy servants' sakes, and the tribes of thine inheritance. So literally, Isaiah is literally saying, Yahweh, why did you force us to err from your ways? Why have you caused us to fall away from you? Like, Yahweh is in an ordination of all things. He creates both light and create darkness. He makes war, he creates peace. That's what Yahweh does. If we're going to hold him to being this omnipotent being, you know, because people like to have the preconceived notion of omnibenevolent, and I'm just